What is going on out there, peeps? So a few days ago, I did a video about Lin Wood. Just pointing out some things I thought was pretty snaky about the guy. He just has this weird thing about him that just doesn't rub me the right way. No big deal. I said, if these things were true, this would make this guy a real shiesty person. He is a lawyer. All lawyers are opportunists. Lin Wood is no exception. Just because a guy throws on a mega hat, runs around talking about God, don't mean he's not a con artist. I'm not saying he is, but when you go through the comments that people made on the thing, it's just blows my mind. Like, well, he's a man of God. How do you know that? Do you know him personally? Or is it that he just sits around and he quotes scripture all day long? Well, Jim Jones was a man of God, and he killed like 900 people. David Koresh was a man of God. So just saying he's a man of God and you don't know him, you know what I mean? Doesn't it excuse some of his actions? My point was, I thought some stuff that he was pulling was kind of shiesty, and I was questioning it. In a video, I said, what do you guys think? So I heard what you have to say, but I do think it's funny, some of the comments that are in there. We'll cover those comments, and then we're going to get into more details about this guy. Before we get started, hit the thumbs up button, because when you do, it helps us get past the algorithm that YouTube puts on us and keeps us from being shadow banned. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. Hey folks, just a quick reminder that back in 2008 and 9, a lot of people lost all of their retirement savings in their 401ks and IRAs because they did not own gold and silver. Yeah, that's right, gold and silver protects you from a market crash. So do yourself a favor, protect your retirement by purchasing gold and silver. You can go to moneymetals.com, reach out to them, and they will help you set yourself up to protect you and your family from having to start all over from scratch. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they will send along with your order a free half ounce of silver. So folks, do yourself a favor, head on over to moneymetals.com and protect you and your family from a market crash, as well as inflation. That's right, head on over to Money Metals when you want to buy gold and silver. Keep in mind, if you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. Hey, right now, a special offer for my audiences only. You have a chance to win 100 free American Silver Eagles. That's over $3,000 in value. And all you have to do is enter your email to win. That's it. That's right, there's no obligations to purchase. The link is down below in the description, so head on over there, enter to win. You have between now and December 31st of this year to enter. The only way you can for sure not win 100 silver American Eagles is by not entering at all. So do yourself a favor and enter your email so you have a chance to win. From time to time, I will be using material that's considered copywritten. I post this just to show that I am exercising my fair use rights. So here's a video that I'm talking about. I said Lin Wood. Is he the real deal or a fraud? Here's the problem I have with politics these days. People have drawn a line in the sand and they've taken sides. And no matter what, if somebody that you think is a darling on your team, somebody like Lin Wood, Sidney Powell, General Flynn, anybody like that for the people on the right, on the people on left, is anybody communism? Okay. So anyways, AOC and its squad. They say all kinds of crap that everybody on the Democratic side knows is wrong, but they won't speak out against them. That's where we are on the right now. Questioning anybody that's considered the untouchables, then people unload on you. They get pissy. They unsubscribe, cancel subscription, stuff like that. It's like, okay. I mean, if you can't have a conversation about things that you think are questionable, then we're no better than the other side. It's ridiculous. Me questioning Lin Wood, and rightfully so. How many of you people out there have actually been represented by Lin Wood? Kyle Rittenhouse has. And he spoke out against Lin Wood. It's funny how all these people on the right were like, oh, Kyle Rittenhouse, the hero, our savior, This guy, yeah, he's an icon. As soon as you spoke out against Lin Wood, then guess what? He's a plant. He works for the CIA. He's deep state. It's orchestrated. I'm like, oh, God. So that's how it is. We get to that point where we see something, and then if somebody doesn't fall in line, whether it's from the left or the right, doesn't fall or toe the line, then your own people attack you. I always joke at the number of times the left eat themselves. I do. I love when they attack each other. But I didn't realize that actually happened to the people on the right. I guess I was naive. You see, in any debate, I'd bet on somebody from the right. Because the odds are they're the ones that most likely did the actual research. They're the ones that have all the facts. And usually what you see happens in a debate or a talk is that the people from the left don't have any facts. And when they're getting beaten in any kind of argument, they resort to verbal or physical attacks because they know they're wrong. But I think it's funny when somebody from the same team, so to speak, questions a team member, so to speak, then all hell breaks loose. Lin Wood is an attorney. There's so many jokes out there about how shiesty attorneys are. And you think Lin Wood's any better? You'll see what I'm talking about in the comments. Or Lin is a man of God and is the real deal. So my question is, how do you know he's a man of God? Just because he quotes scripture? Like I said, Jim Jones was a man of God. David Koresh was a man of God. Now, having made that point, I do believe Lin is a man of God, and I mean it sincerely. I was just using the other two people to say, hey, don't assume just because the guy runs around quoting the scripture. That's the point I was trying to make. But do I think Lin Wood truly is a man who believes in scripture? I do. I really do. But that doesn't mean he's somehow exempt from being questioned, or that doesn't somehow mean this guy's not capable. People of scripture might call sinfulness. You know what I mean? The guy has issues. Pimpy, you have described yourself and describing Mr. Wood. Not the first time that Pimpy has called it backwards. At this point, we have a trend. So what exactly am I calling backwards? The fact that I said to you guys, hey, what do you guys think about these actions somehow means I'm calling it backwards because I'm questioning some of his actions? Huh. This does allow me an opportunity to see the way a lot of people do think. The Fightbag.org gave $2 million for bail and an additional $700,000 for Kyle's legal expenses, which they are not asking to be repaid. Well, no, Delight, you're wrong. They are asking for it to be repaid. Lin Wood wrote a letter to the judge telling him that the money goes to the Fightback organization. You see, here's where my issue is with Lin Wood. He knows what he's doing. He's a professional. When he went to represent Kyle Rittenhouse in his legal defense, and he asked for people to donate money, he should not have mixed his dirt. What I mean by that is, don't tell people to donate for Kyle and send it to the same fund in which Fightback is using. That's mixing your dirt. So what he should have done was put up a separate account altogether, specifically for Kyle, and told everybody, look, if you want to donate to help Kyle's defense, send the money here. If you want to donate to my organization, send it to this one. Do you see what I'm saying? He knows better. Come on, guys. Seriously, he knows better. No, he mixed his dirt. So here's the thing that gets me. How do you know what money was specifically sent for Kyle and what money was specifically sent for Lin? That would be hard to do, but you would need Lin to actually open up the books and have a full-fledged audit, which I believe he did agree to do, despite the news out there to the contrary. I think Lin said, yeah, come on in and we'll take a look. I might be wrong in that, but I think Lin was trying to be transparent. But my point about the whole situation is that's pretty snaky. What if should always play into these things. What if you have a fallout with your client? You have to be able to separate the money. There were people who specifically, and no other reason, sent the money for Kyle, not Lin. The fact that Lin put them both in the same account, that's snaky to me. Come on, people. Lin Wood is the best of the best, hands down. You think so? The best of the best? There's nobody better? You might be right. Who knows? I'm glad you spoke up, Pimpy, regardless of what anybody thinks. You stuck to your guns by speaking your truth. By observing what I see in the comments, others don't understand that hearing others' opinion is part of listening on both sides. Keep pushing the envelope by helping others get out of their comfort zone. Jacob, thank you very much. You don't know how much that means to me. So you can imagine a lot of people who create content. They're constantly walking on eggshells. They don't want to offend anybody. See, that's not me. I'm just going to tell you what my opinion is. That's the whole purpose of me having my own YouTube channel, whether you like it or not. But you're right. When you go through these comments and you hear what people say, you can see they're already brainwashed. And they've already taken a side. We're now in teams. People often talk about how close are we to civil war. I think this is probably the closest we've been in a long time. People are not willing to budge. And that means people from both sides would eat their own. You know what I mean? Instead of just listening to what a person has, their opinion on something, they go, well, I can kind of understand that, or no, I don't agree with it. And, ask for more details. Well, what makes you think that way? You know what I mean? Or what makes you think that way? And then have an open dialogue. Because we are where we are in this country politically, you can't even do that. This is what happens. D-Light's going to town. He's got like 700 comments on here just attacking away. You can tell when people are really, really embedded and entrenched into their side of this fight. The money Lin Wood raised was strictly for bail and legally must be returned to the person or entity who posted a bill. I think you need to check your facts before talking about either side. Well, here's the thing, D-Light. What facts is there to check? So here's my question to you. I guess you thought 17-year-old kid could walk out of jail, go to Lin Wood and say, hey, that money that you raised on my behalf using my name, can you give it to me? And then he would walk down there, post his own bail, then go back in jail and wait for his release? That doesn't make no sense. Lin Wood was his legal representation, him and Pierce. Of course, they are going to be the ones that post the bail. But the money that was raised by that organization was specifically for Kyle's defense. Not Lin Wood, not Pierce. And Pierce is a real shady guy. And the fact that Lin Wood teamed up with them to create this organization, you should be questioning yourselves. There's a lot of things about Pierce that's bad. So I get people can say, well, that's not Lin Wood. It's two separate things. No, they're all one and the same. What one does reflects on the other. I get what you're saying. The actions of Pierce are not the actions of Lin Wood, but it does reflect on the organization. It makes you question a lot of things that are going on there. Why didn't Lin Wood know this about Pierce? Why would he team up with such a shady person? You know what I mean? Then you have to question Lin Wood's judgment. Is there a problem with him? So, of course, his legal representation is going to go down and post the bill that they asked people to donate to on behalf of Kyle Rittenhouse. So, of course, the money is supposed to go back to them, technically. But that is the argument. They want to keep the money when it should go to the new defense team for Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, there is something weird about Kyle right now as I watch him do his interviews. Starting to question that kid a little bit, only in this way, that he does look coached. Now, his attack on Lin Wood, that's between the two of them, and Kyle has a right. I want you to think about this for just a second, or just a minute. Literally, look at your kid right now, and think this. If your kid did what Kyle did, and I don't hear, well, my kid never would have been. No, I'm just saying the what if. If your kid did what Kyle did, and the news was lying to the public, claiming that your child was a white supremacist who just killed 3 innocent black protesters and then was slapped in jail, how long would you want your kid to stay in jail? Remember, in prison, they're only watching the controlled media. That media is pushing a false narrative that has now put a target on your child's back. Kyle's not a white supremacist. He did not belong to any militia group. That was Pierce lying. He didn't kill 3 innocent black people. That's a lie. But in prison, they're not going to know this. So when he walks through that door, you're going to have a group of minorities going, look, this white supremacist just killed 3 minorities. He's got a target on his back. Lin Wood's job, along with Pierce, was to protect Kyle. Making the claims that he was safer in jail is bullshit. Anybody that's ever been to jail, anybody that knows anything about politics in prison, knows that kid was nowhere, anywhere, being safer than in jail than he was out of jail. That's bullshit. Okay? As soon as Kyle walked through that door, he had a target on his back. He even did an interview where he said this: the prisoners hated him until they actually sat down and had a chance to talk to him. And he spoke and told them his side. But had they not had a chance to sit and talk to Kyle, or even wanted to sit to talk to Kyle, they would have took his ass out real quick. Okay? He started off in a juvenile detention, but they moved him into an adult facility. Don't forget that. Again, unless you've been to prison or jail, you got to understand how politics works in there. That kid was a walking target. Anybody in prison that would have took him out would have got serious street credit for that. That would be, to take out a big name white supremacist who just killed 3 innocent black people, that would be huge in prison. Major, major kudo points. But that wasn't the truth. We know Kyle wasn't a white supremacist. We know he didn't kill 3 innocent black people. We know this. But you missed the point. His lawyer's job is to protect the child. To say that Kyle needed to stay in prison was safer for him, no, that's not the right representation. And nobody in their right mind would think that keeping your child in prison when he's being called a white supremacist who just killed 3 black people. No. Again, snaky. What they did is they left him in there and then used him to campaign on his behalf. Oh, Pimpy, I've been a long time supporter of yours, but this might be where we part ways. Lin is the most solid American patriot this century. How do you guys know this? Why? Because he says so? You know what I mean? I don't get how you know that. I listen to Lin. He says all the right words. He's a man of God, and I respect that. But that doesn't keep him from being a lawyer. All lawyers are snaky, man, for reals. That's their job, is to be professional liars. Get yourself over to I'm in his Telegram group. I don't need to read all that. That's just him. But that doesn't mean he's innocent. Have you ever done research on Lin Wood? Have you ever heard the things about him? I mean, seriously, this is how I know that people don't actually look into these other individuals. I like how they say to me all the time, do your research. Yeah, okay. I could tell you have not done your research. Real simple. Don't be a fool, Pimpy. Lin is our path forward. Lin is the path forward, really. I like to think that God is the path forward. But I get where you're coming from. Some people worship him like a God. That's some of your guys' Messiah. That's not mine. All right? God, without a doubt, is the way forward. Lin Wood is just a puppet. And before you get all your panties in a wad, I don't mean like deep state puppet or any of that kind of puppet. I'm talking about a puppet for God. He's doing whatever it is that he's supposed to do. I shouldn't have used the words puppet. Let's say a tool. Is that better? A tool. Just like Trump is a tool of God. Okay? Now, do I think Lin Wood's walking down the right path? He's questionable to me. That was the whole purpose of the video, is to say to you guys, hey, what do you think? I just think he's kind of snaky. That's all I was saying. Pimpy, Kyle and Lin are part of an orchestrated movie. But I'm sure you already knew that. Yeah, Deb, let me tell you something. There is something about that, man, these days. I'm not even kidding you. If I didn't know any better, it does look a little scripted, if I'm being honest. Just because of the way Kyle is talking. But you have to understand that Kyle has a legal team, and I'm sure he's been coached on what to say. There's no doubt about it, because he's saying all the right things necessary to go after groups of people for defamation. So somebody's definitely coaching him. There's no doubt about it. So you think Kyle's an actor? Lin Wood is the real deal? Well, if Kyle's an actor, they did one hell of a job of going through with this whole scripted scene. I mean, 2 people were shot and killed. One dude's arm we saw blown off. Talk about some great special effects. So here's the thing about this whole movement. I love when people from the right, they don't agree with something, or they love somebody until somebody says something against their team, so to speak, and then all of a sudden is no, they're clones. No, they're now deep state. No, they're actors. I love how that happens all the time. You can understand why people from the opposite side go, those people over there are loony. See, the people on the left, they don't run around calling people actors and clones. They just flat out lie. Period. Lie, lie, lie. And they'll do whatever it takes, legal or illegal, to win. But they don't run around sounding kooky sometimes. You know what I mean? I mean, there's some kooky people there. Seriously, they got over their AOC, who I call Seabiscuit. She definitely, there's something wrong with those people, man. Real deal. And you surprised me for jumping in on this issue while even digging in too deep. How do you know I didn't? What makes you say that? Due diligence needed because of a sketchy dude had his hand in the $2 million and not Wood. I think you're talking about Pierce tried to. Yeah, Pierce is sketchy dude. And it's been spilled out. This guy's been fraud. But Lin Wood put him in on his team. Those two are the founders of the Fight Back. So you have to question again, at the very least, Lin Wood's judgment. Lin Wood, I don't know what he mean by the dude had his hand in the $2 million. He tried to. But Lin Wood is the one writing the letter to the judge saying that money goes back to his organization. So Lin Wood's not exempt from being sneaky. That money was for Kyle as far as I'm concerned. Kyle is sheltered by sketchy people. I don't know about sketchy anymore. There's some questionable actions. You guys got to listen to Barnes, man. He laid out why it is that the original defense team failed Kyle. They didn't do anything to protect him. As a matter of fact, Barnes said their actions almost seemed to send a signal to the lawyer that Kyle was going to be a sacrifice for them to go ahead and roast the kid. That's the kind of signals they were sending before the new defense team came in. And if I'm being honest, it did appear that that's what was going on. Now, Lin Wood did not represent Kyle in the criminal part of this. He's supposed to do the defamation. Okay? Pierce, who has an actual shady background, who owes a ton of money. He does. And has been caught doing some fraudulent things, allegedly. So he's the one that Lin Wood let protect Kyle. Again, very questionable move. Pimpy, please stick to what you know and stop bashing a fellow patrons. What I know, this is what I know. You see, I'm not allowed to talk on this channel about what I know because it gets censored all the time. That's why I have the alternative website. I actually do the research into these latest events, more current events. And I speak about them on other channels and then on a radio station down at AM 590. I don't usually go in this path on this channel, but it was irritating me what I saw. We'll get into the details. And nobody's bashing a fellow patriot. I'm just simply saying to you, this is kind of snaky, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Lin Wood is a good man. He might be. He just, again, pure snaky. Lin Wood pretty much denied the allegations, I believe. He did. He denied them. It could be a misunderstanding in Rittenhouse's part, but I don't know. When I listened to Barnes lay out in very specific details, he said that entire team, including Lin Wood, seriously missed out on just Lawyer 101, the very basics and what it took to protect Kyle. Leaving him in jail was a bad move. The kid had a target on his back. He was more protected with his family, regardless of what anybody says. That is the truth. I would feel more protected at home, where I had access to my guns. So to my family members, if anybody tried to do anything, I had the right to protect myself again. In prison, you have no protection. It's just you against whatever comes after you. And to sit around and think that them guards are going to be there to protect you? No. The fact that they moved him from a juvenile to an adult facility send a huge signal that they should have got that kid out long ago. Pimpy need to listen to Lin's fireside chat. You'll get to know. I've heard a couple of his chats. Don't get me wrong, man. The guy sounds like the real deal. But I'm just saying some of these things he did are very, very sneaky. So I noticed that people, here, like this comment over here, please stick to what you know and stop the bashing of fellow patriots. So people have chosen teams. But what happens when these people that you hold in high regard start fighting with one another? then who you going to pick? We all know that General Flynn and Sidney Powell and Lin Wood, they're the triad, the three-headed patriot heroes of the right. But what happens when they start turning on each other? Whose side are you going to take? Because you already seem to be picking sides. You're talking about me bashing patriots. I'm not bashing them. I'm questioning them. There's a difference. There was no attack on any of these so-called patriots. What I did is question his actions. Let me show you. So here you go over here. Here's the problem. This guy here, Pierce, he owes a crap load of money. And he absolutely tried to take loans out against the $2 million bill. And he got busted by a guy named Hancock. And then immediately, Lin Wood's like, well, that guy's deep state. That's what they do all the time. So anytime anybody questions something that you do or shows evidence that you might have committed a crime, well, then all of a sudden they're deep state. You guys got to stop falling for that. You can't just go all the time, oh, they're deep state, that's why. That's not the excuse. Now, I would agree that probably the vast majority of the time there is something behind it, but not every time, people. Stop allowing yourself to make excuses for people who do bad, even if they are on your team. The whole purpose is try to reunite the citizens to fight back against this very corrupt government. But they keep us so easily divided with nonsense like this, where you can't even have a conversation about people that might be on your so-called side of the team. Because all of a sudden, you are now some black hat. You are deep state. Oh, you must work for the CIA. It's like, oh, good Lord. That's how ridiculous it is. This is why things will never get fixed. And this is why I think we're closer to civil war than ever before. People actually believe there's a bunch of clones running out there and that people have been executed in Gitmo, despite the fact that I'm proving to you that that's not happened. See, Vine covers the Gitmo trials. So like I said, no matter how much proof you guys suffer, and I'm generalizing, not all of you, only a small portion of you for the most part, suffer from cognitive dissonance. You guys are too brainwashed. And despite the facts coming in front of you that says, hey, you should at least be questioning these actions, you don't want to hear it. You already have chosen your team and you'll defend them to the end no matter what bad they do. So here it is. Here's the issue. It's a $2 million bond. And people are like, oh, what was one of the comments? Oh, Lin Wood never wanted it repaid. Yes, he does. Pierce and Wood were Rittenhouse's original lawyers. Wood shifted from Rittenhouse to pursue election fraud issues. And the teenager personally fired Pierce in February. Prior to his hiring, Pierce quit the criminal defense team. He did so in the face of the Wisconsin prosecution office raising concerns about Pierce and the Fight Back Foundation, the same entity behind the funds raised for the bond. So Pierce's personal financial difficulties raised significant ethic concerns. That's what the prosecutor was saying. So what happened was he kept trying to take money, get loans against the bond, saying that they were going to get the money back. The other shiesty thing that Pierce did was when he filled out the bond, instead of having it going back to the Fight Back organization, the $2 million was to go to his personal residence in California. That's a no-no. So here's where people come forward and they go, hey, here's our proof that Pierce is shiesty. And everybody goes, well, that's deep state. Well, that's deep state news. Hancock's deep state. Well, Hancock was hired by Lin Wood as well as Pierce to help. And then Hancock was saying that, hey, it appears that Pierce is doing some shiesty stuff. Now, Hancock's another person that's questionable too. So again, you got all these very questionable people all working together, and you have to go, where's the judgment on this? If you're a man of God, where's your discernment? He should know better. The Wisconsin prosecutor was not alone in raising concerns about Pierce. A former client called Pierce a crook and said until the day he dies, Pierce should be in the penitentiary. And another ex-client, Menace Society. So again, Lin Wood knows this guy. Why would he choose such a shiesty, shady person to be a partner with? Here's Robert Barnes. Robert Barnes lays out, an unbelievable attack against the procedures used in the initial part of Kyle's defense. And if you heard it without being so biased with your opinions on individuals, you can understand why If I was Kyle and his parents, I'd be upset. They didn't do anything to protect the kid. And like Barnes says, it almost appears like they were sending a signal to the judge that this kid was to be sacrificed and go down. Lin Wood suggested Pierce engaged in financial malfeasance with respect to Rittenhouse, as captured in the Hill report. So even Lin Wood attacked Pierce. Rittenhouse attorney Robert Burns has accused Pierce, amongst other things, of stealing funds intended for Pierce's former client. Do not donate. This is a grifter. Pierce's organization, who stole from Rittenhouse's family, owes money to almost everyone and their mother, and is now trying to grift his way into an organization that appears to be illegal on its face. Kyle's mother, Wendy, the Kenosha shooter's mother, expressed concern over Pierce and money as captured in this podcast. She went on to just badmouth the guy. So here's the thing. Again, Lin Wood knows better. He's a pro. He's been doing this a long time. The fact that he mixed his dirt by having people donate to the same fund that people donate just to support his organization. He should have set up a whole separate account specifically for Kyle. Now they're fighting over the $2 million. And that person making a comment that, somehow magically Lin Wood gave from his own organization. Yeah, he gave what he was given on Kyle's behalf. You act like it came out of his pocket. Yeah, I know. I heard Lin Wood say that he also gave an additional $600,000, $700,000 to help with Kyle. If the Kyle Rittenhouse bill is returned tomorrow, John Pierce will receive a deposit of $2 million directly into his account. Yes, his account, not the organization's. John was fired on February the 1st. 5 months later, John still refuses to turn over the bail money to Kyle's defense fund. John needs to do the right thing. So he already has the money. Money that was donated for Kyle's defense. So don't say Lin Wood didn't want the money repaid. He tells you in here, this is directed from Lin Wood, written by Xavier, on behalf of the foundation. They want the $2 million back. They said that money goes to them and it's rightfully theirs. No, it's not. Like I said, people donated money to the fund where they were instructed to go. They should not have mixed the dirt. That's what I'm calling snaky. So again, Pierce was having the money sent directly to his house. Why not the foundation? Why not the foundation's account? Why did it go specifically to Pierce's personal account? Now people are questioning the Fight Back organization, and rightfully so. So it might have started off with good intentions, but having people in your organization like this does not reflect well on you. Apparently, John Pierce has disappeared, and he's supposed to also, keep in mind, be defending a lot of the so-called insurrectionists after January 6th. He hasn't even shown up to their trials. What the hell? Yeah, where is John Pierce? John Pierce isn't the only one. Lin Wood is under some serious trouble too. Yeah. Lawyer of accused Kenosha shooter has trouble with financial past. Steps away from the defense fund that raised $700,000. That was early. This is in September here. I think it was by September 5th, they had already raised over $1 million. Again, when you tell people, if you want to help Kyle's defense out, donate money to this foundation, then the money belongs to Kyle. This goes on more to point out about Pierce's problems and why he was in there, and the fact that he was getting money from the foundation that didn't belong to him, that whole 9 yards. So you got Lin Wood now is the controlling foundation member. Said Friday that he had no concerns about Pierce's financial issues, saying that they predated the foundation's formation and the attorneys' association with Rittenhouse. He also said that the foundation was nearing an agreement with an outside counsel as an independent safeguard on the foundation's operations. They should have done this in the first place. To show you that Lin Wood isn't all peaches and cream, the people that were represented, Nick Salmon, Steve Wynn, Kyle Rittenhouse, they all at one time or another cut ties with Lin Wood because of some questionable action. You have to wonder why so many of his clients all cut ties with him. What is really going on? I know everybody's deep state. I get it. Everybody's a clone. And sit back and watch the movie. So Pierce already acknowledged failing to pay nearly $4 million as part of the agreement with Carish Capital, which had provided the firm cash advances So that's a lot of money. So I can see it now already. People are going, well, that's Pierce. That's not Lin Wood. Oh, no, Lin Wood has issues. Or we're not directly involved with this case. All we have to do is go by what people are saying. But when you have multiple people all saying there's something wrong with Lin Wood, don't give me as your response when I say, hey, this should be questioned. We should be concerned about these types of allegations being brought up. And if your response is, well, they're all part of deep state or they're clones, yeah, you're contributing to the problem. You're not solving it. Behind Fightback's untold tales of Lin Wood, an unreported gun incident, and how Kyle Rittenhouse's mother sees it. So again, Kyle's mother went on saying that she bashed Lin Wood, as well as the Fightback organization. A big part of why people cut ties with Lin Wood is because he expressed his opinion about Mike Pence needing to be hung for treason and that Trump actually won the election. So to me, I mean, let the guy post his own opinion, but I can understand why people say, look, I don't want to be associated with that. I don't have a problem with it because, to be quite honest, most of the stuff that Lin's talk about in that area, I believe as well. So an exclusive interview with Law and Crime podcast. Objections, the teenagers' mothers, Wendy Rittenhouse, and Fightback's former executive director, Dave Hancock, speaking out for the first time against the demands that the nonprofit conduct an audit of the money that was fundraised. So Dave Hancock now, he's part of the Fightback organization. Now him and I believe Lin Wood are going at it. Lin Wood's calling him deep state. You see how this works? When people speak out against some of your actions, then all of a sudden you're deep state. You're CIA. You're a black hat. And some of you guys gobble it up as if it's the truth. She can see where Wendy's coming from. She said he used my son's image to make a profit off of that. And I asked for an accounting of it. And I never got it. I was ignored. That's what she's claiming, Mrs. Rittenhouse. The money raised for her son's defense. Although Lin Wood said he was being transparent and he welcomed an audit. But then all of a sudden there's a recorder from Dave Hancock where Lin says the opposite. So again, that's snaky. So Dave Hancock started recording their conversations, and all the things that Wendy is accusing Lin of is actually the truth. It was Lin that told Pierce to leave the kid in jail for his own protection. That to me is the worst decision. It really was. It could have cost the kid his life. So now Hancock and Lin Wood are having a falling out. Since I asked Lin, where's the money? Miss Rittenhouse recalled separately, I wanted to see the books, like accounting books. In an email, Wood denied receiving any requests for an audit and said Fightback would perfectly willing to undergo any audit required by law. See how that works? By law. In other words, for transparency purposes, he wouldn't just go, look, come see for yourself, I have nothing to hide. Wood threatened litigation multiple times to prevent the publication of an untold story of Fightback, including allegations of betrayal, violence, and family strife backed up by multiple on-the-record interviews, police dash cam videos, business records, and secret recordings from former business associates. So you see, Lin Wood is not all peaches and cream, people. And I know you're going to say, oh, that's orchestrated. It's scripted. It's a deep state. Is that what you're going to say? I'm going to answer your questions, but if you do what I think you're going to do, I'm going to sue your ass. That's what he said in a voicemail. Lin Wood's purpose is he thought after the election there was going to be Armageddon, and that's why he thought Kyle was safer in prison. I don't agree with that, because if Armageddon was breaking out, he's actually more in danger in prison. Again, you have to know prison politics. And I could hear these people, how do you know? Have you ever been there? Yep, I've been there. 87 days her son was in jail with a huge target on his back. You got to remember, Kyle is being held up as the darling of the right. So anybody in there that's Trump haters, anybody that hates Republicans, anybody that's allies of the Democrats, they would have took Kyle out in a heartbeat if they were given an opportunity. Wendy said, he told me that my son would be safe in jail because he thought the night of the election, on the 3rd, was going to be Armageddon. and that Kyle was safer in jail. No lawyer in a right damn mind, given this whole political climate that we're in, and her son being falsely accused as a white supremacist who killed 3 innocent black people, no person in their right mind would think that her son was safer in jail. Kyle and the mother, they're the clients. They told Lin they want their kid out of jail, and he refused to do it. So he failed to be the proper representation for Kyle. If your client is saying, hey, you now have the money to bail me out, and you refuse to do it, what kind of representation are you? That's what happened. Wendy said, I told Lin I want my son home. He needs to be home with his family. He needs to be home with his mother and his sisters. He's safer there. They refused to let the kid out. What kind of lawyer is that? This is what I'm talking about. That's real shiesty stuff. In a recording backing up her allegation, Wood appears to tell Rittenhouse's lawyers to leave the teenager in jail. While he did, he admitted that he said to leave the kid in jail. Keep the boy in that youth facility in Illinois. Wood can be heard in a recording. And the longer he can stay there, the better, because if things get as bad as I think they could, half as bad as I think they would, he's safe there. No, they moved them to an adult facility. The file is one of several tapes and documents provided to Law and Crime by Hancock, a former Navy SEAL who worked as a security consultant on Wood's $7.9 million property in South Carolina. So now when people start questioning Lin Wood, well, then he said he's going to sue them all for defamation, and they're all deep state. So that's what your defense is all the time? When multiple people are questioning what's going on, and your response is, well, they're deep state? And then there's people out there that believe that, oh, Lin Wood's right, they're all deep state. Yeah. Well, there might be some truth to some of it, not all of it. It says, I think a supporter should listen honestly to the audio and should look at some of the documents and should understand that Lin behind the phone that's typing in the message, they might not know. They don't know anything about Lin, the man. So you see, then I'll be one of these people where people go, well, see, why are you even talking about that? Why are you hurting the cause, Pimpy? Well, wait a minute. If you have somebody that's on our so-called team and they're doing these types of things, do you understand if somebody like Sidney Powell or General Flynn or Rudy Giuliani or Lin Wood, any of those guys get busted for any minor little thing that the media is going to blow way out of proportion, therefore these people should know better. Even more now than before, just because of where they stand in history. The prominent defamation attorney would enter a settlement with the former lawyer partner on March 17, 2020, less than a week after a big White House meeting. Wood felt that his family had turned against him after he rejected the children's demand that he get mental health examination. Well, now what's happening is the boards are starting to ask for Lin Wood to have a mental health examination. I don't agree with that. I don't know Lin Wood personally. Maybe there is something to it. His own children are asking for him to have a mental health check. But we've seen GOP members whose children and siblings are saying the same thing about them. And it's on both sides. We know this. Look at Adam Kinzinger. His family's cut him off. They say he works for the army of the devil by siding with the Democrats. So, there's family members that won't like what you're doing, and they'll speak out against you. So that could be what's happening to Lin Wood as well. See, it says right here, the state board of Georgia also demanded that Wood get a mental health examination, a request that the lawyer, compared to the Salem witch trials, would sue the board over its demands. Which I'm not so sure that the board should be making any kind of demands like that. Somebody have a mental health. That's not their place. So what'll go on here, and it'll tell you, like, look at Steve Wynn hired him for one reason. Richard Joel, remember the person who was falsely accused of the 1996 Atlanta Olympics bombing, was represented by Lin. Nick Salmon was represented by Lin. Look at Wynn, Salmon, and Rittenhouse have since cut ties with Wynn. So what is going on with Lin Wood is what I'm questioning. He is doing some kind of sneaky things. It wasn't an attack on him. What I'm saying is we should be questioning what the hell is going on. For the reason I mentioned earlier, if these people are the crown jewels of the people on the right, and they get caught in any little thing, that's gonna be used to discredit everything. What do we have? Rudy Giuliani, George Papadopoulos, Carter Page, all told Tucker that Rittenhouse would raise a Second Amendment defense on the weapons charge, and that the teenager had the right to carry the weapons as a member of the militia. But Rittenhouse's mother called Pierce militia rhetoric false and damaging. So they're going to try to use the fact that he was a militia member, so they just lied, is what Pierce did, by trying to claim that Kyle was part of a militia group, and therefore he had a right to carry an arm. That was going to be their defense. Except for Kyle was like, wait a minute, I was not a member of the militia group. I'm not a member of any militia group. But you can see what they're going to try to do. They're trying to cushion his defense by saying, look, as a member of a militia, he has a right to carry arms. He doesn't have to be a militia member to have the right to carry arms, though. Kyle told Pierce, no, the word militia is wrong, and did not want him to use it. He told me, oh, it's okay. We're going to use it in a different term, but I did not like it one bit. So again, they're not listening to their clients. They're doing what they want to do, despite the wishes of Kyle and his mother. So you can see here a photo of Lin Wood and Fight Back ex-executive director Dave Hancock. They've now had a falling out, and Lin Wood's accusing him of being deep state. Do you see how that works all the time? So every time you have a falling out, then the other person's deep state. Is that what you're saying? Well, this is going to be interesting. And you can see here, there was some kind of disagreement. Actually, on Lin Wood's 68th birthday, tensions boiled up into a never-before-reported incident during which the lawyer pulled a gun out of Hancock's holster. I don't know why he would do that. So the county sheriff records confirmed the incident. Hancock claims that Wood punched him in his face. Wood denies that, claiming that he disarmed the ex-Navy SEAL. Hancock claims that he has a taped Wood preparing a false story for police, sharing his recording in the incident along with the police dashcam video and a 911 recording. So you can see, don't say he's innocent. If this guy is preparing a false story and is about to file a false statement to the police, that's illegal. That's being snaky. So you don't say that Lin Wood's exempt from it. He obviously would do whatever it takes like any normal human person. You're going to say whatever it takes to defend yourself if your butt's about to get in trouble. So I get what Lin's doing, but don't try to act like this guy walks on water. But now here we go. You guys got teammates. You guys think Lin Wood is the path forward? Okay. Well, what about your support for Sidney Powell? What about your support for General Flynn? Where's it going to lie now? Where's your support going to be? Where's your loyalty going to land? Because there's a big problem. Lin Wood is now going after everybody on the right. Lin Wood goes off the deep state deep end, accuses Trump lawyer Sidney Powell and the Stop the Steal of grifting. He's going after Sidney Powell. And not just Sidney Powell, he's also going after General Flynn. So you guys still got your teammates, right? Don't bash fellow patriots when I question this type of action right here. And you guys are not questioning this? But you guys want to jump on me? Okay. And you're saying I don't do my due diligence? Obviously, you guys are not doing your own research. Right-wing darling Kyle Rittenhouse, the teen acquitted of murder for killing 2 people at a racial justice protest, sent the QAnon world into a tailspin when he said in an interview that Lin Wood, a leading QAnon believer and Trump attorney who briefly represented Kyle, was insane and was taking advantage of Kyle. But I love how they throw in the QAnon thing in here just for added BS. This prompted right-wing Trump allies, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, alt-right activist, I love that, Jack Posobiec, and former Trump White House Sebastian Gorka, to come out against Wood. They're all speaking out against it for something, you guys. Are you guys still taking your sides? You guys still think Lin is the sole path forward? Because there's a lot of internal fighting going on, and it seems like everybody is turning on Lin Wood. Well, maybe Trump and Jack Posobiec and Sebastian Gorka, maybe I guess they're all deep state. Maybe Sidney Powell's deep state now. Is that what you're going to say? General Flynn's deep state. Is that what you're going to try to tell me now? Or that they're clones? Is that what you're going to say? In response, Wood has been posting through it, making wild claims without evidence. Over the past few days, he has shared increasingly outrageous claims on his Telegram and turned on pro-Trumpers who use it to be his allies. including Sidney Powell, Sebastian Gorka, and Michael Flynn. So now you got Lin turning on Powell, Gorka, and Flynn. Still think I was wrong for just questioning some of these things? After doing this research and connecting the dots, I have reached the conclusion that the Stop the Steal organization is a deep state organization to raise money for the purpose of other than to fix the 2020 election. Watch out for anyone affiliated with Stop the Steal. Every lie will be revealed. That's what Lin Wood said. So now I guess Sidney Powell's out of the N Club. Is that what you're saying? Are we doing away? You guys let me know in the comments. Are we kicking her off our team now? Are we also kicking off our team the Stop the Steal? Or are people just so blinded by these lies these days that you fail to just question what's going on? Just because you don't want to question somebody that's on your so-called team. This says that Lin Wood posted a recording of a phone call with him and Patrick Burns. During the call, Wood questioned where the money raised to overturn the election is going and accused Powell of being a scammer. Uh-oh, another member. I guess I'm bashing patriots. Is that what you're going to tell me? I'm not sure where all the money is going, but I think somebody owes it to the American people for full accountability. That's what Burns said. Then Burns also accused Sidney Powell of trying to sleep with them, so that's another thing altogether. So it seems to me that there's a lot of infighting, and these people might not be as innocent or as big of heroes as you think. Come on. Barnes calls her the devil wears Prada and claims that Powell wanted to bet him and that he turned her down and she's been cold towards him ever since. Okay. Seems to me like these people might have lost focus on what their intentions were. Am I wrong in this? If they're too busy trying to screw each other and you know, you're getting rejected and then you turn on one another and now you got Lin calling out Sidney Powell saying she's a grifter and he's attacking General Flynn as well. Is General Flynn kicked off the team, you guys? Is he no longer on our team? Do we kick him out of the Good People Club? Is he now deep state? Is that what you're going to tell me? Is he a clone? I love it when people go, "Oh, you're not doing your research." Oh yeah, did you research this? And you still feel the same way? Back to the topic, Rittenhouse, Wood, and Barnes agreed that Rittenhouse must have been coached by someone to disparage Wood in an interview with Fox News. I think he was coached. I really do, because he said all the right words that would lead you to believe that there's a defamation suit going on. Rittenhouse told Carson that when Wood was his attorney, he had taken advantage of him and held me in jail for 87 days. Well, that's true. We know that. Even Lin Wood agreed to that. To me, I think that's some real sneaky stuff. If your client tells you to get him out of jail and you were donated money to get him out of jail, you need to get him out of jail. It's a lie, Wood claims, adding that Flynn has abandoned him since the teen made those claims. Old Mike Flynn got out of the foxhole and ran, Wood said. Yep. On his telegram, Wood continued to post rambling updates. I admit, Mike and Sidney played me for a few months. I had no experience in military psychological operations. And you gotta love this comment right here. The posting continued on Saturday after he took a 6-hour overnight break. Wood accused Trump endorsed Vernon Jones, who is running for Georgia's lieutenant governor, of being a career Democrat, a racist, and a sexual predator. Now he's turning on Vernon Jones too? Yeah, okay. Wood also promised more deep state players would be revealed to you. So now everybody on Trump's team is deep state, is that right? Sidney Powell, Michael Flynn, Vernon Jones. Is that what you guys are trying to tell me? Is that Lin Wood is the path forward? That he's the savior? And now he's calling out everybody. And what do you think that does to the so-called team on the right? It discredits everything. They're going to take what Lin is saying, call him a loony bin, and then go, look, even Lin Wood is calling out all these people. And they're going to use it against those individuals that are supposed to be the darlings of the people on the right. But, you know, go after me because I bring this to your attention. Oh, I'm bashing. No, it's not bashing. Don't lecture me about not doing research when you haven't done it. What I'm saying is this. Is Lin Wood the real deal or is he a fraud? I'm questioning a lot of his actions. He does seem to have went off the deep state side, that's for sure. Off the deep state end, I should say. He's going after everybody, you guys. Flynn, Sidney Powell. That one attack alone by that one individual could really be detrimental to this entire movement. So is Lin right? Is all these people deep state? Or do you guys agree with that? Let me know in the comments. Is now Sidney Powell, Michael Flynn, Vern Jones, the racist and sexual predator, are they all deep state now? Are they all clones? Have they been sent to Gitmo? What do you guys think? Or am I right? Lin Wood is doing some questionable things. If I had to take a step back and look at this, I start to wonder if maybe Lin Wood was deep state, and he is now coming out with all this stuff to just go ahead and discredit the entire movement, because it would kind of give you that appearance. Now, I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying, based on everything that we're seeing, it would appear that way if we're going to take your guys' logic on what is and what isn't deep state, based on their action. Attacking Flynn, Sidney Powell, Vernon Jones, the way he is, that would almost appear to look like deep state movement. Wouldn't you agree? You guys let me know what you think. Don't jump all over me because I'm bringing stuff to your attention. Look, you can't just sit there and look at all the good and ignore all the bad and act like everything is peaches and cream on one side. That's the problem with the people on the left. They refuse to call out people on their own team when they're doing wrong. So if somebody's doing wrong on our side, what I always thought made us better was this. Is that we didn't have a problem with calling out people when they were wrong. That doesn't mean you should abandon Lin Wood, but you should question what his actions are. Get where I'm coming from? So now let's see what you guys' comments are. You guys got your teams. Now you see Lin Wood's attacking everybody on your team. You still taking the side of Lin Wood? You still think he's the right guy? Everybody else is deep state? Is that what you're going to say? You guys let me know in the comments. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so. Because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll talk to you later. I'm out.